Hey, welcome back to Power Players. Every week I bring to you, and this week I bring to you somebody that's got some information and ammo for you that's going to put you in power in your life. Taylor McCarthy, 25 years old. This guy is a cold call pro. You've been asking for the information about cold calling. So many of you out there trying to break down doors. He's a Solar City regional manager from where?
Boston, Massachusetts.
From the big city B, okay? Cat lived out of a suitcase for years, 22 years old. First 2 years at Verizon Comcast, was the #1 sales rep in the US of A. Dude, good to have you on here, okay?
Thank you.
All right. So let me ask you, you're a cold call guy.
100%.
How do you feel about telling people you make cold calls?
I feel great about it.
Uh-huh.
I go out there and I have fun with my job. From the time that I, wake up to the time that I go to bed, my job is 100% when I'm out there. I don't look at it like work. That's the difference. My attitude towards what I do, and the technique and the behavior that I come out there with, I love what I do.
So let's go back, okay? How were you brought up?
So my life is pretty unique. I grew up in a small town. There was 3 towns that went to my one high school right outside of New Hampshire. From a young age, I worried about money at a very young age. So
Why were you worried about money?
So when I was 13, my parents got divorced, and I was raised by my father, and my father had worked for everything he had. My father really didn't have that much money growing up. At the age of 13, I started as a golf caddy, and I started really worrying about money at a very young age.
Because your dad didn't have it, or he was telling you that money was short, or?
I just saw how my dad lived. My dad really didn't, he really didn't make much, but everything that he made, he put towards me and towards my sister. As he never spent any money on himself, but he would always put everything that he had into us. And the way that my dad raised me is the person that I am today.
And how did he raise you?
He raised me with values. He used to wake me up every morning at 5 a.m. I was the first caddy to the golf course. I used to carry 2 golf bags for 2 rounds a day.
How old were you then?
I was 12, 13, 14, 15.
And you're doing that to earn money, or he's doing that to teach you a discipline, or what?
He definitely taught me discipline, but he also taught me mindset. So when I actually started, I remember my first day as a golf caddy when I did the training, and I told myself I was going to be the best caddy. I knew it. I told myself, I said, I'm going to do what it takes to be the best of the best.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. I knew that, and my belief was the reason that I was the best caddy, is because I was absolutely certain of my thoughts and my beliefs. And my beliefs and thoughts led to my judgment and emotion, and my judgment and emotion led to my actions, which then led to my result. And that's what I try to do with everything, and especially with door-to-door. I think door-to-door is 90% mental.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm out there, I'm talking to myself the whole day. I'm literally talking to myself the whole day.
So before this interview today, what were you telling yourself?
So before this interview today, I told myself that this is one of the most important days of my life. I'm 25 years old, and I look at this to be so important for me, not just for myself, but for all the people that have helped me get to the point that I'm at right now. I've been doing door-to-door since I've been 18 years old, and I've made over $1 million in door-to-door.
That is unbelievable, man. You're 25 now. You started door-to-door when you were 18.
I used to skip my last class in high school. I used to actually skip my high school graduation because I was in a competition for Celtics tickets versus the Lakers in the finals, which I won, and I was able to take my dad to that. The reason I didn't walk at my high school graduation was because I would have had to take a week off from work during the competition, and at that time, it was a huge decision for me. I had a golf scholarship for college, and at that time, I'd started working, selling cable door to door, and at first my dad was like, "Taylor, you got a scholarship. This is what you should be doing." And I made that decision at that time that sales was not just going to be my work, but it was going to be my life, and I think that's what really made a difference for me.
So you're making a decision at 18 not to go to college, right?
Yes.
And your dad's saying, no, you should go to college. So how did you make that? How did you know you were doing the right thing? I mean, you admire your dad. He set a good example for you. So how do you break those ideas of somebody that's saying?
It was definitely a tough decision at that time, but throughout my life, I realized that this was something that I was born to do. I was a salesman since I was 12 years old at Disneyland. You know, we were at Disneyland and, you know, there was a little Cheetos bag and a little glass on the table, and I went down to the front desk and, you know, I got us 3 nights free. I got us a bunch of stuff at 12 or 13 years old.
Because of how much you sold?
Because of my conviction and the way I'm able to convince people. I think that the reason...
You think you were born a salesman?
I know I was born a salesman.
So do you work on your technique? Do you work on strategy?
Yeah, I think that the way that I've worked on my technique throughout the years is I practice a lot. Like I said, I think a lot of it is mental, but me actually being on the doors, one thing that I would do is I would be the first one dropped off and the last one picked up, meaning that I would wake up in the morning, we would go out in a car group, I would get dropped off in a neighborhood at 10 a.m. I would say, hey, I want to be the first one dropped off and I want to be the last one picked up at the end of the day because that would give me the most time throughout the day. The reason I chose to get dropped off is because
You're talking about at your first sales job?
Yeah,
okay.
Throughout all
at
my
18.
sales jobs.
So let's go back to when you were 12 though, okay?
Yep.
You're at Disney. What are you selling at Disney?
I wasn't selling anything. I had a room actually that had some problems with it. There was a little piece of glass on the floor and a Cheetos bag, and it was an experience. And me and my brother had went down to the front desk and basically complained to get us basically a free trip to Disney.
Hang that idea, okay? We're going to come back. We're talking about how this guy became a sales pro, $1 million in cold call sales. Welcome back to Power Players. I have today Taylor McCarthy. This man has made $1 million in cold call sales revenue or commission.
Commission.
$1 million in cold call commissions by the time he is 25 years old. #1 sales rep in the United States at the age of 20. Top sales rep in the alarm industry for 3 years in a row, 2011 to 2013. He started at Solar City and in 9 months built the 5 top sales teams in the company. We were talking about Disney. Why did you think at 12 years old you had become a salesperson with this Disney situation? I didn't quite understand that.
So it was just the ability to be able to get my way and to be able to convince somebody on the way that I thought. So throughout sales, I'm able to convince people on the way that I think and help them think the way that I think, that I'll be able to convince them on what that I want.
So there's something wrong with the room at Disney.
Yep.
12 years old, you go to the front desk.
Go to the front desk with my brother.
You're talking to a 30-year-old probably.
30-year-old, probably 12 or 13 at the time.
Right.
Explain to them how hard my dad worked and how, you know, we had a problem with the room and this, and, you know, the next thing you knew is we had dinner for 4 at one of the fanciest restaurants that we probably couldn't even have afforded. We had the whole three nights free. Just little things that we were able to do to convince them.
And you're like hooked. You're like, dude, man,
13 years old, mini
I'm
golf
a persuader.
Yeah, I realized it at that point, I think.
That was like this moment for you? Like, was there one before that, or was this the one?
I think the biggest thing, that was early, but when I was 18 in all the sales competitions, is realizing that I would never take second place. You know, the belief in winning and the fact that I always cared about what I did was the most important thing. So a lot of my friends and a lot of people that know me look at me as somebody that's myopic. Myopic meaning a word like tunnel vision, like no matter what, my eye is on the prize. And that's something that has always led me to be #1 at every single company.
So now, when do you decide, you're 18 years old now, when do you decide, hey, I'm going to go cold call? I mean, this is something that's so unattractive to people, the idea that you would be a cold call. Knock on a door? You're talking about knocking on cold doors?
Yeah, so
neighborhoods?
This is how it started. I used to carry golf bags, and picture I would carry 2 golf bags around. 4 hours would be for 2 golf bags. I would go around the course. I would cater to my customer. I would mirror and match them. I would make them like me. and I would earn between $60 and $80 per round, and I would do 2 rounds a day. So 8 hours of carrying 2 golf bags around a day. So imagine on a normal Saturday, if I had 4 golf bags, I would make between $100 and $150 for the 8 hours. My brother had got into door-to-door. He used to work at Circuit City and took me out one day. And within an hour, he did 3 sales, Verizon Fios at $86 a sale. And within 1 hour, I watched him make $240, where it would take me 8 hours of carrying golf bags. And all we were doing is helping people and making people like us. So at that point, I realized that it was for me.
I'm giving up my bags and I'm gonna carry some phones around.
Yeah, selling Verizon Fios cable subscriptions.
Yeah, so it sounds underneath that though that you were very money motivated. I hear the money is the thread.
I think money, but success, and like, to be honest with you, I feel like my why was deeper than anyone else's. My why has always came back to my father, to actually make my dad proud. My dad has done everything for me, and my dad has health conditions. He actually has his kneecap was replaced, but they took out the kneecap, so he literally has no kneecap when he walks around. And to see all the stuff that my father had went through, my goal is really just to constantly be number one, to prove my dad. And when I got into the alarm industry, my first year, I'd sat in a similar room with about 100 people, and I told myself I was going to be number one no matter what.
How many people in the room?
Probably about 150 to 180.
And you're the new guy?
Brand new.
And
First
you're like,
day.
I'm going to be the number one guy out of 150 people.
I was a rookie in the alarm industry, and I had sold 415 alarm systems door to door over about a 5 to 6 month period.
How many doors you call on to sell 450 alarms? 2,000, 3,000?
1,500, 2,000.
So you close about maybe 20%?
Usually 3 to 5 sales a day. And same day installed, everything was done that same day.
How many doors would you call on to sell 3 in a day?
To sell 3 in a day, I would say if I have 10 presentations, I'll sell 3.
So you're calling on 10 to 15 strange people a day. They drop you off in a neighborhood?
So that's the way that I choose to do it. You can always drive to the field, but I choose to get out there and I choose to be strategic throughout the day. So a lot of door-to-door is mental and strategic. A lot of people don't understand that. It's not like I'm just knocking every single door. I'm a hunter. I'm out there. I'm trying to find. So I'm literally constantly looking at stuff. I'm looking at roads. When I get to the neighborhood, I'm looking at the area next to me. I'm looking for cars. I'm looking for names. So say the first door, I don't get a sale, but I understand that the guy's name is John. He drives a red pickup truck, and he's lived in the neighborhood for 17 years, and he's a part of the board. I'm going to use all that information that I use throughout the day when I actually go to refer back and use references to everyone else in the community.
And you're doing that to build rapport? You're doing it to look like a safe terminal in the neighborhood? Or?
I think a lot of people, when it comes to door, people try to avoid the wrong decisions and they try to make the right decisions.
You mean the buyer?
The buyer.
Okay.
So when I'm coming up to somebody, they've never met me.
Say that again. People are trying to avoid the wrong decisions.
People are trying to avoid the wrong decision, and people are trying to make the right decisions. So if I'm coming up to their door, they could have been eating dinner, they could have been watching the football game, they could have been doing anything. They've never met me before. My job from the time that I knock that door to the time that they answer is not only to make them like me, but to mirror and match them. So one thing that I do that's pretty unique is I'm self-talking myself the whole day. I'm walking up to the door, I'm like, oh my gosh, they got a white minivan. They're definitely doing it. They definitely want it. They want solar.
Because why does the white minivan mean that? Kids?
I tell myself that.
You're selling solar now.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's alarms, whatever I'm going to the door with.
So tell me why a white minivan. I'm just going to give you why does a white minivan mean they'd buy a security system?
It doesn't. I'm telling myself that, and I'm telling myself that, and I start believing that, so that my positive.
Convincing your think.
I'm convincing my thoughts.
Your seller be sold.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So I'm coming into that, telling myself, hey, last night they were talking about doing it. But say if it's solar, hey, the last night the wife was talking about the electric bill and she's been wanting to go solar. Or last night they were talking about an alarm to protect their home and family. I've never met them, but I'm
Yeah.
telling myself that when I come to the door.
Taylor McCarthy, man, he's talking to you about self-talk, what you can do to sell yourself, sell or be sold. $1 million at 25 years old, $1 million in commissions from cold calling. How many of you are willing to go out there and cold call to grow your business? This cat is. When we come back, we're going to get some strategies from this power player. Welcome back to Power Players. I asked him on the break, have you saved any money? Have you put any money? $1 million in commissions from cold calling at 25 years old, banging on freaking doors, strangers, walking up to them, sell or be sold, convincing himself of the think. And I asked you on break, what did I ask you?
Yeah, see how much I have saved up.
I said, you got any money? And what'd you tell me?
I do.
How much?
I have about $680,000 in my bank account.
That's a power player, bro. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to turn it into? What's the goal? What's your financial goal in life?
So my financial goal is...
I know you want to take care of your dad, but I mean, do you
Yeah.
have one like, is there a number for you?
I want to make $1 million a month. That's my goal.
You're sick, dog. I love that kind of sickness, man. Okay? This cat's talking about money, success, myopic, convincing a person of their think. He says he was a born salesman. I don't think he was. I think you were born a baby, man. You got any pictures? You got any pictures of when you were born?
Yes.
Does it look like a baby or a salesman?
It looks like a baby.
Good. So how did you become a salesman? And why don't you have a problem with it? Everybody's got a problem with this salesman thing.
I don't have any problem with it. I love what I do, and it's a lifestyle. That's the most important thing to me. It isn't a job, it's a lifestyle.
What do you mean by that?
So the fact of not only being able to create wealth and income for myself, but to help others around me, I feel like is something super important to me. Growing up not having anything, to be able to show somebody how to create wealth for themselves, it means a lot more. So, hey, if I make millions of dollars with door-to-door, it's a lot different than being able to say, hey, I helped hundreds of people make millions of dollars with techniques and things that I taught them and things that I've been taught, because it's not just me. There's a lot of people that have helped me get to the point that I'm at.
Right,
today.
and there's a lot of you. I think you would say that it's easier to teach somebody how to sell door-to-door than to become a Wall Street investor.
Yeah, I think 100%. I think being able to sell door-to-door, 90% of it is all mental. I think if right off the bat, if people are thinking, oh, door-to-door this or that, or they have some preconceived notions about what door-to-door is, it's different. It's different than somebody coming out with me for 6 hours, 8 hours, watching me make $10,000 to $20,000 in one day and having fun with it, making my customers laugh.
You can make 10 grand in one day?
Easy.
So you take me out on the road. We're right here in Miami today, okay?
Yeah.
Where would we go?
We could go anywhere. It doesn't matter. No matter
Star
what.
Island. We go to Star Island.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I've knocked $1 million houses. I've worked Gary, Indiana. It doesn't matter. It's just if you're convicted on what you're telling somebody.
Convinced.
Yeah, if you're convicted.
We don't want to get you convicted, man.
If you're really like convicted on what you're telling somebody, you're going to be able to convince somebody on what you're thinking. So my goal is really two things when I go to the doors is I'm knocking on that door and I'm going to make them like me, and I'm going to mirror and match them. I'm going to mirror and match them no matter how they are when they talk to me. I'm going to make them like me, and I'm going to act as if, hey.
How do you make somebody like you?
So it depends, if somebody
Make me like you.
So I would just talk to you like I am right now. So there is no fakeness, there is no syntheticness in my pitch. It's not like it makes somebody like you, so you're going to say, oh, hi, how are you? If it's an older woman that answers the door, I'm not going to talk to her like I'm talking to you.
Right.
I'm going to completely change it up. Oh, hi, miss, how are you? Oh, hi, my name is Taylor McCarthy. We're just the ones with Solar City, and I'll really lower my tone of voice.
Right.
And if somebody came to their door and they were mad, like say you were upset, like what the heck are you doing here? Yes, sir. Sorry I'm late. We did want to do about 2 more. You probably already knew what was going on. You might know Mr. Jefferson. He drives the 2 Toyotas. Don't worry, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm pretty much just going to cut to the chase. Boom. So I'm going to come at it at a different angle than if I would with an older person. because a lot of the time it's not what I'm saying, it's how I'm saying it to the person, especially in the fact that it's door to door, and they can open their door and you have 5 seconds sometimes. You have 5 seconds. They can close that door with you right away.
How many doors have you had just closed in your face?
Oh, I mean, that happens all the time, but I don't take it personal.
Right.
You know, I kind of look at it like, oh my gosh.
That's really more about them than it is about you.
Yeah, if you can never take that personal. If somebody slams the door in your face, I've had people that slam the door in my face, I knock it again, and then I sell them.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So that's really, they're trying to avoid a poor decision there. You said they're trying to avoid a bad decision and make good ones.
Yeah, well, a lot of the time they just think they're trying to be sold something. So I think a lot of people that are in door to door, and I think one of the most powerful lines that you can use in door to door is if you're selling door to door and you're not cutting to the chase with people, you're not going to get your point across, and no matter how good of what you have to offer somebody, it's never going to actually be offered to them because it was never actually communicated. So always within
because you're going to run out of time in the presentation.
So always within the first 15 seconds of my presentation, so I'm pretty much just going to cut to the chase. That is a power line right there that will gain you not only their attention but time.
Right.
And if you're able to have time and you believe in what you're saying, it's going to make sense for the customer.
Yeah, but you said something really important there. Get their attention. I have to get their attention in order for them to sell. So you're saying, hey, look, I'm going to cut to the chase here.
Yeah. So
now the guy stops. Okay.
Yeah, and then I've got all ears there.
Right.
Where I think about it like, hey.
And then what are you going to move into there? Let's say you say it doesn't matter what you're selling.
So I'm gonna tell them the reason why I'm there and how they're involved. So it's not going to be so I see a lot of people, they talk about fluff in a pitch, right? Especially with door to door, where they talk about a bunch of stuff. Anything you say during the process,
like you got kids. I see you're talking about distractions.
Yeah. So anything you say during the process is going to help you or hurt you. There's no neutral in that process. It's either going to help you or hurt you, meaning that if it does not help your presentation, it's hurting you. So if I don't get them to,
dude, that's awesome.
If I don't get them to say yes, or I say something that's completely irrelevant or does not help that process, then I'm wasting time, which is actually hurting the sale, which you might think is a neutral or it might have helped. I'm trying to do as much stuff to help
No
the
neutrals.
sale.
It either helps you or it hurts you.
100%.
If it doesn't help you, it's going to hurt your pitch.
Correct.
How much are you working on your pitch?
Every day.
Every day.
In the mirror, every day. I wake up every day. I say, I'm alive, I'm alert, and I feel great. I'm self-talking myself throughout the day, and I love what I do. But I also have a belief and an absolute certainty that makes me number one.
About you? You have a belief about you or the product?
It's the way I envision myself, yeah. So it's the way I look at myself.
Are you the product?
Yeah, people buy me. People buy me at the door, so it doesn't matter if I'm selling cable,
security,
if I'm selling solar, security, vacuum
investments,
cleaners, Cutco knife, they're buying me. So if I have that absolute certainty that when I go up to somebody, I'm not only going to make them like me, but I'm going to help them think the way that I think, I'm not only helping them, but it's a situation that's helping everyone.
Could you do what you do over the phone?
I believe so, but I believe that door to door has been what's my comfort since I've been 18. But I think over the phone it is a little bit different. I think, but it's similar. But with door to door, there's a lot of stuff like not only what I'm saying, but the body language I'm using, engaging my customers. So I'm always handing them something. So say if I was like, yeah, I don't know if you know what's been going on in the state. It's easier for me to show you. And I hand you something.
Yeah. So he's tapping into right now. Give, and people believe what they see, not what they hear.
And the most important thing is during that process, I'm going to make sure, like, say if you were my customer, I'm going to make sure you feel as if you have control the whole time, but I actually have control. So maybe I hand you something. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if you know what's been going on. Then I'm going to take it back from you.
Right.
Then I'm going to hand you something else.
Right.
And I'm going to make that process go in a direction that I need it to go.
Yeah, so you're using control to create the sense of they're in control.
Correct.
In order for you to have control.
Yes.
Because if they feel like they're not in control, you don't have control of the sales process. You agree with that?
I agree.
Because then they're going to be hurried. I want to get out. This is not working for me, and they're going to pull out, and that comes back to not a neutral, but it hurts you.
Yes.
So how long does it take? Like how many teams do you have?
Okay, so currently I have five teams on the East Coast, one team in California. I started.
You're on the phone with them every day? Are you virtual? Or you
yeah,
video?
100% communication is key.
Every day?
100%.
They listen to a phone call, or
we have an
you
app.
Skype into them?
So we have an app.
Okay.
We use an app that we use, which I feel like is super productive. That it's a group chat with about 80 people in the chat. From the time we wake up to the time we go to bed, it's just constantly everyone helping each other. And it's an environment that I was able to produce that there's no negativity within the office. There is no hate within the office.
Yeah, so you're controlling, you're immersing your team so that there's not room for the weeds to grow.
A lot of the, I mean, picture I'm 25 years old. I have a lot of guys that are, 19, 20, 22, 24. I have guys that are 30. I have guys that are 40. But the whole thing is these guys, a lot of them have never had an opportunity. So if I'm able to give them an opportunity, and I've been successful and able to show them the opportunity, I'm really able to mold them. And the way you're able to mold reps is you really want to set the expectations right from day one. And I think if you set the expectations right with people, you're able to mold them, especially if they've never had an opportunity. I tell all my guys before I hire them, I say, if you're not ready for a $250,000 opportunity, you need to step aside and you need to let somebody else take your position. I genuinely believe that it's my responsibility to make sure the people that I bring on are successful.
Right. What's your average guy make?
My average guy will make between probably about 80,000.
80,000.
For
That's
average.
30,000. 60% more than the median income in America. Just so everybody knows. Okay. What are you going to make this year?
I'm going to make 800,000.
We should write a book together, dude. You want to write a book?
That's what I want to do.
Let's write a book together. Okay. I would love to have you come down here and sell our products, man. You'd be a killer. You think you could outsell me?
I know I could outsell
Oh
you.
my gosh, man. He's throwing down right here on Power Players. Look, he smiles, licks his lips like he just had dinner. I think he could too, so I'd rather just collaborate with the cat. Okay? Look, this is what Taylor McCarthy, 25 years old, has told you today. Okay? Look, it's your think. Okay? He does, I don't even think the cat's selling a product. I think he's selling him every time. He's walking up, he's literally envisioning why these people need the product, whether it's a car, plumbing, contracting, real estate. Could you sell anything?
I believe so, yes.
How much entrepreneur do you have in you beyond the salesman?
So
Do you understand when one stops and the other starts?
Yeah, 100%. And the best way for me to transition, like right now, and to explain it, from 18 to 24, I was always number one. I've never lost in anything. There's always been a few lines that have always stuck with me, but I believe in winning, and I think that is so important. If you don't care about what you do and you don't keep your eye on the scoreboard, that's huge. My eyes are on the scoreboard, data.
And what's the scoreboard for you?
The scoreboard, I look at where everyone else stacks up around the United States. I always
So you're
did.
competing. You want to be
competing.
better than others.
This is a game for me.
You want to compete or you want to dominate?
I want to dominate, 100%. I want to win every day.
Right.
I win
you want
every
to
day.
crush others around you?
Yeah, I don't like to lose, and I know that if I put my full effort in, that when I get home, I would rather be completely tired and exhausted from working as hard as I could have worked to go home to look at the scoreboard to see that I finished number one day in, day out.
Where can people follow you, Taylor McCarthy? 25-year-old
People-
on his way to be a millionaire?
People can follow me on Facebook, Taylor McCarthy, and I work for Solar City, so if you type in Taylor McCarthy.
He works for Solar City right now, but we might cut a deal here before we end off today and see if he's working for Cardone Training Technologies. Man, it's been great to have you here. Maybe we write a book together. I've never, ever seen. Have y'all ever heard me say that? Hey, let's write a book together? Maybe we do that, all right? Appreciate you being here today, man. This has been great. This cat's talking about being myopic, focus, tunnel vision. He talked about money. He talked about success. He talked about being a hunter. He talked about the why. And he talked about having your pitch down and being disciplined and dominating your field, okay? Look, I want you to sit in that chair one day. Every week I bring to you power players, 25 to what? How old have we had people here? We had a 22-year-old, 25. We've had people worth $100 million. He's going to be worth more than Stephen G at $100 million because he's on his 760 already. What do you got?
About 690.
700,000, okay? Thanks for watching Power Players. See you next week. This is Grant Cardone at Whatever It Takes Network.